talking about what makes you successful in life, relationships, and business. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy.
I think about the old saying, woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I have to chuckle because everyone knows what that means. That you're kind of grouchy or you're just having a bad day. And my question is, why would you want to continue your day like that? Well, don't worry, because we know that what you think affects your outcomes daily. Therefore, we're going to share with you how to brainstorm, block your time, and set the perfect routine that works for you while aligning your habits with your values. Welcome to Jump, Pivot, and Roll. I'm Shannon Stiles.
And I'm Rachel Murphy.
So, Rachel, let's start from the beginning here, right? I mean, if somebody wakes up and they say, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, I'm having a horrible day, everything's going wrong, blah, blah, blah. That's telling me that they're choosing to continue that throughout the day. They're choosing to give themselves an excuse why they can continue to have a bad day.
Well, that's interesting. I see it a little different.
Go ahead.
I say that if they don't have the tools, they're trapped in, maybe they didn't sleep well, right? Maybe the dog was barking or the neighbors were having a party, and so they didn't get what they normally get. So they did kind of wake up grumpy, which we've all done it. I've done it.
Definitely.
Definitely. But they're trapped in not knowing how to get out of that. So you're right. So it's a little bit of an excuse. But I think for so many people, our listeners included, they don't realize they have the power to change it.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to choosing your words wisely, right? Because, yes, we've all had those mornings. And if somebody says, how's your morning, right? Sure, you can say, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But you know what? I'm turning that around right now, and I'm going to have an amazing day. That's much different than, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and everything's horrible and the sky's not blue and blah, blah, blah. And just everything is going wrong, right?
Well, and have you ever noticed that, say you do wake up on the wrong side of the bed, right? And nothing else has happened. But now, because you're kind of irritable, you can't figure out what you're going to wear.
Yeah, everything goes wrong.
And now you're running behind because you couldn't figure out what you were going to wear. And now you can't find the keys because where are the stupid keys? Where did I put the keys? And it's just like one thing after another. They become like dominoes.
Yeah, most definitely. And that is, we're talking about your state of mind, right?
Absolutely.
And what you think affects your outcome daily.
Not only you. Say
Others?
that you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you're grumpy, and now your husband's grumpy because you're grumpy, and now the kids are grumpy.
It is a domino effect. You're right.
breakfast.
I see where you're going with that.
Absolutely.
So let's take a step back, right? Let's say you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. We have some tools for you and some tips as to how to turn that around. And I think the first thing you need to do is do a little bit of brainstorming. Take a few minutes out of your time. Not really brainstorming. What I'm talking about is brain dump, right? Take a few minutes just to write down everything you can think of that's in your mind and just dump it all out on that piece of paper. And once it's on that piece of paper, you can then turn things around and you can pick and choose what to pick up and put back in your brain. What to pick up and carry on for the rest of the day. And this works every single day. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, I know I've done it with you before, that I've had a pretty crappy day.
Well, yeah, life happens.
And somebody says, how are you doing? And they can clearly see I'm having a crappy day, right? And it's kind of a trigger to me. And I go, you know what? I wasn't doing very good before that, but I'm starting my day over right now.
Yep, restart.
My favorite thing in the world to do is to start my day over, right? Now, how do I start my morning in the morning?
With me.
Right, and I do meditation.
We do silence, right? So I was going to say, before you do the brain dump, I'm just going to put it out there because I have proven this to myself over and over again. Starting your morning with silence is a game changer because then it clears your mind to write
you're
that
already
stuff
past
down.
that though.
What do you mean?
You just woke up and you're in that mode.
You still start with
this
silence.
This is how you turn it around, because when you start in that mode and you're really bad, and I get your daily routine, and we're going to talk about that. But with the brain dump, it's about taking everything that's bothering you out of your mind, right? But where I was going with that is, what do I do every morning after our morning routine? I do my prayers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you spend time with God.
Yeah, so when I say I'm starting my day over, that means, okay, I'm starting over. God, I don't know what happened. I got woke up on the wrong side of the bed, started out wrong, but I need you to help me get back on track, and let's focus on something that's going to take us and move us a couple of steps further, right?
Right.
And we'll go back to yours now.
Well, and I was going to say, I think it's really important, especially our listeners know that you have to figure out that thing that's your restart. Shannon's is prayers and doing that after meditation and silence. Mine is literally doing the meditation, the gratitude, and the silence.
Exactly.
And in that is my time with God as well. But it's, for me, it is allowing my mind to be quiet, to grab those things that may be, and ask.
Hence the silence first.
Well, yeah. And when you're silent, the thing I want people to understand is it doesn't mean that I'm not having thoughts, because you're having lots of thoughts. And I'm actually enforcing that because I'm asking my soul, my heart, my God questions. Mm-hmm. It's like, what should I be doing, or how should I be handling this? And then I'm giving myself that opportunity for those answers that are inside of me to come out. And so same thing with, why am I having such a bad morning?
So here's the question, though, because like the reason I do it the way I do is because it's quick. Mm-hmm. I say, I'm starting my day over. Mm-hmm. Everybody at work, all my friends, my husband, everybody knows when I say, I'm starting my day over. That means it hasn't gone very well up until then, and I really have to. I just now noticed it, and that's my trigger when I say that, to turn it around immediately. Say a quick little prayer, and I move on. What do you say out loud? I mean, is there something that you say that puts you in that state peak, and then you go into your silence? And how does that work for you if you've got to switch it immediately? But now you have to have silent time, and then you have to have your meditation with your prayer. And I mean, that could take a long time.
Well, it can, but meditation, silence, all of that, it's about 25 minutes of the morning, right? And let's be honest, this morning, because I had a pretty rough night last night, personally, and my job yesterday was physically exhausting, but very rewarding. But I went home, and guys, I'm going to be honest, I had 3 ice cream sandwiches and half a bag of barbecue chips for dinner. I was in my thing.
You should have had a restart of I'm starting my day over after that first ice cream sandwich, maybe the second,
yeah,
right?
Probably.
Maybe the second.
But you know what? Here's the good thing that I have learned is that it is okay to have those hard moments. It is okay to even have that very small time frame of, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to eat 3 ice cream sandwiches. And if you give me the eye about it, I'm just going to ignore you because this is what I need right now. And that's learning to hear yourself. Now, if I was still sitting there eating ice cream sandwiches today, we'd have a real problem.
Rach, I think 3 is a little excessive.
3 is not a little excessive. It's a lot of excessive.
I think you should have come up with something to catch it before 3, but I get what you're saying.
Yes, very fair.
So we talked earlier in an earlier podcast about our routines and about how we start the day together at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. isn't for everybody. And you know what? For the listeners, we don't want you to think that we're telling you what to do.
Right.
We're giving you options. We're giving you suggestions. We're helping you to brainstorm for the next time that this happens to you so that you can say, you know what? I'm just going to try this. I'm going to say, start my day over and take a minute to say your prayer, or you're going to stop and you're going to go into that silence and you're going to do your meditation. Whatever works for you. The important thing is that you pick up on doing something.
Right. And
not continuing it.
Right. And let's go back to the morning, because I never did actually get to answer. So last night was rough. I woke up this morning and it was still pretty rough. And I stuck to the routine because that I know works for me.
Yes.
But I told you, after I was done with silence, after I was done with meditation, I crawled back into bed today, guys. I did not stay up. I needed a restart. So I crawled back into bed. I went to sleep for a little bit, and then I woke up ready to start a new day. So sometimes your restart is a nap. Sometimes it's prayers. Sometimes it's talking to a friend. Whatever that is for you, it's okay. But recognize that we need that sometimes. Shannon's much better and faster at it than I am. I need a nap.
Well, you bring up a good point, because sometimes the best thing for you to do is end that day.
Yes.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
It's
if it's
okay.
nighttime, I've gone to bed at 6 o'clock at night, and I'm not going to apologize to anybody for it.
That's okay. I mean, if you need to go to sleep, because I'd much rather somebody go to sleep and get a long night's sleep, wake up the next morning just so refreshed and ready to attack the day, than be grouchy all night. Nobody wants to be around us when we're like that anyway.
Well, and you're making them grouchy. You're giving them reason to have that grumpy day the next day.
So another way of really making sure that our thoughts are good, so that the outcomes that they affect daily are good outcomes, would be to prioritize your day. And I'm going to recommend doing something that everybody's going to be like, huh? But go ahead and prioritize your day. Put the different roles. We talked about that before, right?
Roles. Yep.
Put the different roles that you really want to get accomplished that day down. And then when you prioritize your day, you do the hardest things first, the things that you don't want to do first, and you do the things that you enjoy and are most important to you last. Do not do those things until you do the others. Because what happens is it frees you up. When we do something that we really, really love, man, we're in the zone, right? We love it. Nothing can change us. But when we do something that is like, oh, I have to do that, which we don't have to do anything. We get to do everything, right? But if you say, I get to do this, and then I can do what I truly am passionate about, it's a game changer.
It is.
It is a game changer.
It is. And you know, one of the things that I do, I play a game with myself. And it's this: when I am having to do something that I really am dreading doing, don't want to do, I set a timer. And I say, okay, Rachel, you can do this for the next 20 minutes or whatever it is. Usually I try and do 20-minute increments. And then after you do that, you get a 10-minute break if you've got to come back to it. And then I race myself to see how much of that I can get through in that 20 minutes. And because all of a sudden you've turned it into a game, you've taken some of that overwhelm and that dread away. And now it's like, okay, can I, whatever it is. Like I love, and I don't really dread cleaning my house, but who loves house cleaning? Like really, really loves house cleaning. There's
Sometimes
a few.
I do.
There's a few.
I say that as
house cleaners are cleaning your house. Yeah. But it's one of those things that if you can change the language just a little bit, and that's what it does. Like I will race myself. How much can I get done in 15 minutes to clean my house? And I am amazed when I am racing myself how much I get accomplished.
That's right.
And so, I'm always telling clients all the time, how do we eat an elephant, Shannon?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time, bite by bite. So if you've got to take something you dread that's going to take 2 hours and you break it down in 20 minutes and give yourself a reward of 10 minutes of, woohoo, I got through the first 20.
Yeah, do whatever you want during that time, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, your 10 minutes is yours. If you want to sit down and like Rachel did last night, have 3 ice cream sandwiches, I guess go for it. I wouldn't recommend it, but go for it, right? That's your time. That's your time to celebrate, right?
Yes,
I mean,
celebrate.
I love TV. Absolutely love TV. And when I really, really, really need to be motivated to do something that I really don't want to do, I'll say, okay, so you do 45 minutes of this. And at the end of that 45 minutes, you've got 15 minutes to watch that show.
That's how I do it, too. That's exactly what I do. I find something I really want to either read or watch.
I am so in tune. I am so focused. And you know what? My goal is, then I play, my game that I play with myself is, I'm going to get it done before the 45 minutes because you just gave me 45 minutes. If I get it accomplished before then, I can watch the whole darn thing. My 15 minutes goes to 20, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly. And then here is another tip. So write down the time that you start, what the goal is, right? I have to XYZ. And this is kind of more for work stuff where you know you're going to have to go back to it. And then at the end of that 20 minutes, and at 20 minutes, you stop. You do a hard stop and you take the reward. But you write down what you already accomplished. Why is that? Because it shows you that you are making progress through whatever it is that you are dreading doing. And it starts to change the mindset of that thing.
And that is what we are talking about. What you think affects your outcome daily. That is, as you can tell, our series. We're going to talk about this for a couple of episodes. But we're going to take a quick break right now so that you can hear a word from our sponsors.
The Jump, Pivot, and Roll podcast is brought to you in part by the Shannon Styles Allstate Insurance Agency. Just as you take that next step in life, you need to take that next step in protecting yourself, your car, your home, and your family. Reach out to Shannon at 316-773-9864 or shoot her an email at sstyles@allstate.com. Also by Simplify My Life ICT. Is your life cluttered? Do you need help with organization? Rachel Murphy can help. Check out Rachel's services online at simplifymylifeict.com or reach out to Rachel at simplifymylifeict@gmail.com. To keep up with the Jump, Pivot, and Roll podcast, make sure to follow them on their Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/Jump, Pivot, and Roll. There you can find content, podcasts of the show, discussions with Rachel and Shannon, and more. Plus, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites, from iTunes and Spotify, Google Play to TuneIn, and right on their Podbean site at jumppivotandroll.podbean.com. And for all the exclusive content, make sure to become a VIP member on their Patreon site. Just go to patreon.com/Jump, Pivot, and Roll.
And welcome back to Jump, Pivot, and Roll. I'm Shannon Styles.
And I'm Rachel Murphy.
And today we're talking about what you think affects your outcomes daily. We had talked about giving a couple of really good recommendations before we went and heard a word from our sponsors. Our sponsors.
There you go.
Hello. And wait, welcome to my world. So a couple of those were, when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, don't accept that. Do not accept that as the outcome for the rest of your day. Just figure out a way to change it. One way you can do that is do a brain dump where you just write down everything that's on your mind that's bothering you and then pick and choose, right, what you want to pick up. Another thing that you can do is prioritize your day, start your day over. Rachel goes back to her meditation. She just starts her day completely over, right? And we were talking about prioritizing your day, putting the most important things last, the routines that work for us, right? So now that we know all of that, my next recommendation is calendar it. Block time for everything you want to accomplish. Because we can have lots of, and how many times have you been there, Rachel? I say that because I know you, I love you, and I've been there with you. How many times have we been in a position where, man, we had all kinds of great information running around up here in our mind, and we had studied, we had done our homework, we had bought course after course after course after course, we had prepared, and we just kept preparing, right? We never took action.
Taking another course.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for us to come on here and talk to you about this, because sometimes we have the best intentions in the world and we know how to do it. And maybe we're procrastinating a little bit because fear. That's something we'll talk about also. But once there's something magical about a calendar. There's something magical about that, because once you put that and you see your own writing and you write down during this time slot and you block your time, and when there's a difference between scheduling an appointment on your calendar and blocking your time. I guess we ought to just jump into that, right? Blocking your time is, remember those roles we talked about. I'm going to be the most amazing sexual kitten for my husband, wife, whatever it is, right? Come up with whatever fuels your fire, right? I had shared from work, networking and getting out there, knowing our community. That's something I struggle with. So I came up with the role of ICT Wonder Woman. I get out there and boy, I just change. My whole personality changes. But that's a role. So I block time for those things. And the beautiful thing about block time is that block time it's got a little bit of flexibility to it, right? You don't have to do it at the exact time. You have to do it by the time the day's over. Now, a scheduled time is different. That is, I'm meeting with Rachel at 3 p.m. I'm going to lunch with my husband. I'm doing role play with the girls at the office at 9 a.m. every morning. 5 a.m. Rachel calls every single morning. That is scheduled time. But once you start committing to these things, right, and writing it down, it's a life changer. I mean, it's a game changer.
It is. It is. And, for some people, I know, I'm sure some of our listeners are like me as well, that writing too many things down can be overwhelming. And that is one of the benefits of doing the role play, is that you're not writing, okay, at 1:15, I'm doing this. At 1:30, I'm doing this. You're giving yourself, this is the role that needs to be accomplished in this 2-hour period. And that's a really good thing. The other thing is, I don't write down anymore that I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I get up at 5 a.m.
Period. I do DR.
Okay.
Just because I'm blocking off that time on my calendar at work. Mm-hmm. So I do DR. That's my daily routine.
Yeah.
5 to
And that's the great thing, is that when you start to do these routines,
right,
and these roles, they become so much easier. Like, life truly becomes easier, because now you're not just filling your time with things, you're filling your time with purpose.
Exactly. And it's those top, it's the 80-20 rule, right?
Right.
20% of what we do equates to 80% of our outcome. So when you can narrow down those most important, that 20%, and you can focus and get that on your calendar, man, you're unstoppable. And I talk about this because earlier in the week, last week, I met with my mentor and my coach, right? And he got me calendaring again. I had been calendaring, but I went back to to-do lists, and to-do list is horrible.
Well, it's
horrible.
It's one of those things that you really beat yourself up.
You do, because if you don't check everything
don't get
off,
checked off.
Yeah.
And with role playing, when you're in whatever role it is, you get to prioritize the important nugget, like the rocks, the boulders that need to happen in that. And if you don't check off everything, you're not beating yourself up, because you're like, look what I did while I was ICT Wonder Woman.
That's right. So let me give you an example of a role that you're going to play. I'll go back to that little sex kitten.
She loves this word.
I do. It just, every time I say it, even my whole demeanor changes, right? And that's what it's about, guys. It's about changing your state, being in a peak state. Now, when I talk about the sex kitten, it's totally different, and I get a little flirtatious than I do when I talk about ICT Wonder Woman, right? That's a strong, powerful thing. But the sex kitten, I giggle every time, too.
She does. And the Wonder Woman, her hand goes on her hip.
It does. That's my peak. So the difference is, now, we talked about the to-do list, right? On the sex kitten to-do list, you might have, I need to call my husband and tell him I love him. I need to clean the house because my husband really loves when I pick up the house. I don't know why, because we both work really hard. But that's one of the things he loves. He likes it when I cook him dinner. So on my to-do list, I'm going to put cook dinner. I'm going to put pick up the house. I'm going to put call him. You know, I want to do something special for him. So I'm going to write him a little love note and put it on a sticky,
You know
right?
why that works for sex kitten?
Why?
Because that's called foreplay, darling.
I'm telling you. And so I'm building up here, right? I'm building up for it, and I'm getting ready for him to get home. And when he walks through the door, I'm going to greet him like we're newlyweds and like I haven't seen him in ages. However, that's a lot of things that I have to do on top of the rest of my day, right? So if I just look at my calendar and I say I got to be that sex kitten and I don't have all of those to-dos. I know the activities. I've got those down as activities that would help me get closer to that goal. And the role of sex kitten, that role is, the purpose behind it is because I want to be the best wife that I can possibly be for my husband. I want my husband to look forward to coming home every single day. So when I do that role, what happens is I see it on my calendar and I make a phone call to my husband and I say, I've really missed you today. I love you. And do you know how lucky I am to be your wife? And then I pick up the house and holy cow, life takes over. Next thing I know, Rachel's calling me, telling me, we got to do this podcast today. I have to be gone. Work is calling me. Everything is going crazy. But that is one of the roles that I have on there for today. It doesn't matter that I didn't write him that special card. Right? It doesn't matter that I didn't clean the house because I did enough for him to know, and I've accomplished the purpose of making my husband feel special.
And that is the whole thing right there is, and you're not beating yourself up and saying, God, I'm an awful wife to this man, because you did some of those things that already played out that role the way that you wanted them to.
Yeah, and the other thing that calendaring it does, and that blocking your time and scheduling your time does, is it makes you be consistent. Because how many times, listen, I want you to stop everything you're doing right now. And I want you to think.
Unless you're driving.
Well, you can pull over. It's okay. We're going to take a few minutes here and pause a little bit so that you can get to a stopping point. But I want you to stop for a minute. And I want you to think about that best friend in the world that you haven't talked to for just ages. For ages. And I want you to think about, why haven't you talked to him? Who's that best friend you're thinking of right now, Rachel? You don't have to say the name if you don't want to, but you have that best friend in mind? When's the last time you talked to him?
It's been a little while.
A little while?
Yeah, probably.
So if I told you to start when you're blocking your time for that role of your friends, the most amazing, I call myself Julie, right? Do you remember Julie? I want to be the best Julie ever.
You're talking about from the Love Boat, aren't you?
Love Boat. Yes, because Julie was the coordinator. She made everything fun. People wanted to be around Julie because they knew they would have a good time, right? I want to be Julie. So during my time of planning things for my friends, that's my Julie time, and I'll put on my calendar Julie time. What that means is, maybe today I need to, I stop and think when I'm blocking out my schedule. And this isn't something that you just throw down. you schedule it for a week, a month in advance, and you block this time. And when I'm blocking it, I say, okay, who's that friend that I haven't talked to in a long time? Who's that friend that really could use a pick-me-up, that I need to send them a card, or I need to send them, you know what, better yet, they need flowers today. Who's that friend that just needs a word of encouragement or just needs somebody to listen to them? I need to block that time out, just like I have to block the time out with my husband, right? Because if I don't take the time to put date night on there, which I can't wait till date night next week because we're going to a comedy club. That's going to be fun. And then the next date night is mine and the sex kitten is coming out. But
Lord,
that's what
us.
I mean, right? It helps you be consistent because if you put whatever your Julie is on your calendar and then you started brainstorming there saying, okay, how can my friends, what could I do to be a better friend? Okay, I could do this, that, this, that, this. Maybe you don't get everything done, but I promise you're going to get a lot more done, right?
And every step that you take, everything that you accomplish just reinforces who you are and who you want to be as a person. It reinforces the values that you want people to think about when they think of you.
And that is how we're going to end this. This is like the grand finale, right? I really wish we could have spent more time. I talked too much. I apologize. I wish we could have spent more time on this because I think it's the most important thing that we're going to talk about today is how and why our habits need to align with our values. And because you see, habits can change, but your value and purpose doesn't. Well,
and if you start going against who you are on the inside, your values, your true self, you will be in conflict constantly with that because regardless of what you're doing on the outside, your inside knows and it's going to be holding your outside accountable.
You're right. You are 100% right. And you're not going to be happy.
You're not going to be happy.
You will not find genuine happiness. So why do we say habits? Why do we say focus on daily habits? Well, my belief is that is how we put our purpose and values into place. We have to be very, very, here's Rachel's word, intentional. We have to be intentional about doing this, right? And we do this through habits. Think about your life right now and think about those dreams that you have. And if you're not there, if you aren't living that dream right now, I don't care what it is. It can be dating the perfect man for you. If you're not there, it's because you're not making time for the habits that will get you there. How do you do that when you're single and you want to be in a good relationship? Well, maybe you have to focus on and start doing the things that will make you be the perfect person for your perfect man.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, so let's use that example. Yeah. So some of those things you do is it's important that you're taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Not only physically, but mentally. It's also important that you stop accepting things that go against your values and your habits. If that man that you're viewing who's so perfect for you goes against everything that you truly believe in,
yes,
everything that you truly want out of life,
you've got the wrong habit.
Conflict. You're not being true to who you are.
Get rid of that habit and replace it with one that, here's a good example. It was very, very, very important to me to get a God-fearing man. Get a man that his guide to our future would be found in the Bible. And I'll tell you what, I had the wrong habits. And I can throw my husband under the bus on this right now because
he loves you. And
thank goodness that changed, right? I was very lucky and my prayers were very strong and they worked. But I had a habit of finding the bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a habit of finding the strong man that what is it? Tall, dark, good looking,
tall, dark,
strong,
and handsome.
Yeah, those were those were the habits that I had in place. Now, they were in direct conflict with my values, and I ended up marrying a man that God wasn't first in his life. Now, let me tell you, we had a rough first 4 years.
4 years.
4 years of our marriage was tough because as much as I loved him, our values did not align. And it goes back to me because of my habit of not changing. Had I changed that earlier, I wouldn't be with my husband right now, but I would have found that relationship a lot sooner, right? Now, I'm not saying I want to change. I would change anything. Those are lessons in my life that I had to learn. But you just have to stop and look at the habits you're doing. Okay, you want to meet this man, but your habit is after work every single day, you go home, you turn on the TV, you sit down and eat a bag of bonbons. I don't even know what bonbons are, but
oh, they're really yummy little ice cream thingy.
Okay,
I don't eat them very often though.
I don't want to know because they sound too good. But if that's your habit, how are you putting yourself in a position to get out there and meet the man that you want?
Yeah, so let's say you want to meet an intellectual man.
Yes.
You want a man that not only stimulates your body, but stimulates your brain. Well, where are you going to find him?
The library is where I'd find him.
Exactly. You're going to find him. You've got to go to those places. You've got to say, okay, this is important to me. And it's important enough that I'm going to invest in it, and I'm going to go where other people are going to invest in it.
Yeah.
And Shannon, I feel like we're all over the place. So let's wrap this up.
We're really not all over the place.
Are we not?
No,
Okay.
because we've been talking about putting our habits and
values and mindset.
Yeah. I mean, whatever your outcome is that you want, you have to focus on those habits.
Right.
You can't change your values and the purpose of your life. I'm sorry to tell you, I can't change the fact that deep in my soul, I wanted a God-fearing man.
And
deep
you know
in
when you
my
got
soul,
him is when you said, I want a God-fearing man, and either you're going to step up and be who you told me you were, or I'm out of here.
And I stopped letting, I just took control, right?
You stood up for who you were and stopped accepting less.
Exactly. So that's why it's so important that you have the values and purpose aligned with your habits. And if they're not aligned, guys, don't look at your values and purposes and try to change those.
You can't change them. I believe
you'll
you
never
can't
find
change
happiness.
them. You'll never truly be happy if you're trying to change who your soul is. I'll give you an example. I love serving people, right? With what I do, I serve people, whether it's on the stage talking or whether it's in a house helping someone move or whether it's working with a hoarder, whatever. I serve them. There's no way I could be doing what I'm doing without being serving. Now, you put me behind a desk on a computer, putting in numbers, and I'm going to be miserable.
You're right.
I'm not serving
it's not
any
aligned
purpose for me. Now, say that made me way more money than what I do.
It still doesn't matter.
I'm not going to be happy because it's not in line with who I am. And it's okay to figure, not only okay, it's necessary to figure those things out, because that's where true joy and happiness and fulfillment and passion all come together in this like beautiful little rainbow bubble thing, and you just
oh, she's
so
back
good.
in her fairy world, her fairyland.
This is my good stuff, and
it
this
is the good stuff.
is intention, and mindset and purpose, and that's what we want to lead you to.
And it's not the little, oh, I'm living in this dream. It's making the dream the reality.
Yeah.
So the next time you get out of bed on the wrong side of the bed, I want you to remember, you have a choice in this. You can turn that story into, my day started out rough, but I'm turning it around. Okay, Rachel, I know you love to give challenges. What's your challenge
I was afraid
today?
you were going to miss out on that.
I wouldn't forget that. What's your challenge for everybody this week?
My challenge this week is I want you to write down 3 things that you are going to be intentional about. I don't care if it's health. I don't care if it's eating. I don't care if it's walking out or sitting out in the sun or going and hanging out in the pool or reading a book or
Maybe
whatever.
it's being that amazing wife and you're going to become a sex
maybe
kitten
you're going
with
to become
me.
a sex kitten with Shannon. But whatever it is, I want you to write down just 3 ways in your life in which you're going to be intentional. And then we would love for you to share those with us. God, we love when we hear from you guys.
We do.
Whether it's
thank
messages
you.
or
Thank you so much
texts.
for all the messages because
we
that really
love 'em.
touches us and
It
we really
does.
appreciate that.
It does.
Life doesn't always come with directions. Sometimes you have to jump, pivot, and roll. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe and share it out. You never know. Someone might need to hear this message, and maybe you've been chosen to be the messenger in order to direct them to this message. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.